let's go to next up. Oh, that's the mess's neck. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Maybe we need to move that down there. The mess is very happy because he's going to show us, again, like I said earlier, obviously the game is up. It's the last episode. I'm folding up my tent. Clearly, everything we know about January 6th is a fraud. I thought it was actually Trump supporters trying to stop the counting of the Electoral College so that they could put in fake electors so that Trump could remain. I guess I was wrong. That apparently today's the day I find out just how wrong I am. Video of Nancy Pelosi's daughter confirms the truth about Jan 6. Video of Nancy Pelosi's daughter confirms the truth about Jan 6. The truth about Jan 6. The truth. What could it be?
There are two rival narratives about January 6th.
That's right. One, that it was an attempt by the president and his followers to overthrow the government, and that the assholes that tried to pull it off from the president to his entire, war room circle were such incompetent, lazy, stupid fucks that they totally, I guess they thought the country would be a pushover. It'd be easy. It's interesting that it's a lot of traits they share with Vladimir Putin, oddly. And then the other one is Ray Epps started it. That's what it was. Right? They didn't want to go. They were just there. All they wanted was an elephant ear and to buy a MAGA hat. And some guy whispered in their ear, and they're like, must kill cops, must beat cop, must spray cop with mace. Yeah, something like that. Is that the two?
And these narratives are so different.
They are. They're very, what are they?
That you not only have to scratch your head and ask, how could two such opposite accounts have developed? But how are they so energetically sustained by the two sides?
I see. One is reality and the other is a group of lunatics and losers who, after their failed attempt, are a mix of trying to blame someone else while at the same time saying what they did was justified, and that's fucking insane. So they energetically have to yammer on about it while the rest of us are going, these motherfuckers were like the shittiest revolutionaries ever, but that's what they were trying to do.
Only one of them can be correct.
Uh-oh. When a mommy revolution and a daddy revolution love each other very much.
The issue, of course, is whether January 6th was really an insurrection. Yes or no?
Well, it's not a yes or no question. Was it an attempted insurrection? Absolutely. Was it an actual insurrection? No, because Donald Trump is a lifelong fuck-up with no interpersonal skills at all, and his followers are a bunch of lunatics, and they were doomed to fail because they were, huffing their own farts and thought Trump would be the magic king, and all he'd have to do is wave his hand and the Capitol would part open and they would be taken to the promised land of a Donald Trump-run dictatorship.
As you know, I don't think it was. I have ridiculed the idea that it is. I think I'm in that.
Yes, he's ridiculed it. And if you've been ridiculed by the mess, there's no coming back.
Sense in the Republican mainstream.
Uh-huh.
But the rival narrative is that look for yourself. Look at all the fellows trying to break into the Capitol, smashing glass. Look at the skirmishes between the police and the protesters. It was very definitely an insurrection.
Right, yeah. Unless you're about to tell us that Ashley Babbitt died a sucker. Please continue.
And again, this view is doggedly maintained. It is consistently upheld by the mainstream media. Every Democrat is singing out of this choir book. So who's right?
Well, again, it goes to whether it was an attempted insurrection. It can be an attempted insurrection and a failed insurrection. Was it an insurrection? well, no, I guess technically it failed. Therefore, it was really just a bunch of violent flailing by a bunch of narcissistic sociopaths and cult members.
How do you arbitrate between these two narratives? Well,
I have reasonable discussions with people that understand that maggots attacked the Capitol and were had a violent plan to overthrow the government and built a fucking gallows so they could murder any number of Democrats and Republicans in the place. And I have, conversations about that. They can get, wound up when we discuss it. And then I have the middle finger for anybody who thinks otherwise, because they're intentionally being stupid.
One clue is you look to see what the other side says privately.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting if privately, if people had, let's say, access to Debbie and my conversations and
oh God. If any of us ever need to lose an erection fast, I'm sure audio tapes of that would help.
Privately, we said things like,
his audio is loud. Beg your pardon. I will bring it down a bit. Apologies. How about that?
No, it really was an insurrection, Debbie. Of course, we can't say that on the podcast. So that would, if somebody could get a recording of me saying that, then it would show that I know it was an insurrection, but I'm just publicly denying it because, of course, I'm not an honest person.
Also, that doesn't, whether you say it was or not, does not mean you know. You would have to be one of the participants to have that level of duplicity. What he's talking about is straight up PR, lying to his audience to tell them a story versus what he says in reality. Now, he could be, quite frankly, in his conversations with Debbie, so condescendingly prickish with his own wife that he thinks she really believes this, and it benefits me long term if people think I do too. So anytime I have a conversation with her, I play along. It's not genuine, but who gives a fuck?
But conversely, if we can get video showing that the other side privately admits that it wasn't an insurrection, that...
Okay, first of all, the other side privately admitting, again, an opinion. I don't know what he's going to show. We'll find out. Maybe it'll flip the whole thing over. Maybe I'm willing to walk straight into this rake. But I'm guessing that the victim, in a lot of cases, of an attempted murder, if you ask them if they were murdered, will say no. But if you ask them was it an attempt at murdering them, they will say yes.
That would be very telling, wouldn't it? And as it turns out, we do have that video.
Excellent. Play it. Let's roll. Excellent. Here we go. Video evidence. Fuck me. Here it goes.
And who is it from? It's from Nancy Pelosi's daughter.
Oh my God. That's so interesting.
Nancy Pelosi's daughter, Alexandra Pelosi, was making a documentary. Now, it's very interesting because, first of all, she seems to have known that January 6th would be a huge deal.
Yes, because her mother was speaker and was presiding over the transition from Trump to Biden. The America had spoken, successfully bounced this motherfucker after she had torn up his speech right behind him at the State of the Union and had utter contempt for him. Her daughter thought, the day we got rid of this motherfucker might actually be worth documenting, considering, as the first female and one of the longest serving speakers and the most successful, maybe my mother's life is worth documenting. And this day in particular, where she gavels that shit in, would be pretty valuable. You think? Also, at this day and age, you're surprised when people are documenting anything at that level? We live in Instagram world. People document their goddamn lunch every day.
She had a film crew. She was filming Nancy Pelosi, her mom, even before the events of January 6th.
Right. And so one might come to the conclusion therein that she wouldn't skip the day her mother presides over the handing the gavel to the vice president as he gavels out his own fucking administration. Yes, it was part of a greater documentary. By the way, you might be shocked to know this, Dinesh. She continued to film her mother after the 6th. That's right. All the way up and beyond Joe's inauguration. Yeah. It'd be interesting if, for some reason, Alexandra Pelosi just decided, I'm going to do January 6th, the documentary. Nah, Mom, we don't need any shooting beforehand, none after. It's just about today. And as a matter of fact, really, I'm only concerned with about 8:30 a.m. till about 4:45 at night. Maybe 8 o'clock, depending on if I even want to bother with the actual stuff that went on. I don't, Mom, I'm here to film a documentary about you. I only need about this much time.
And all of this by itself raises the question, how was she so sure that this would become some kind of historic day?
Because it's her fucking mom. It raises the question, why do Democrats give a shit about their parents? What is this whole thing? Like, first, Biden is leaving his son messages saying he loves him when he's at the height of addiction. Next, Alexandra Pelosi is filming her mom on a big day. Motherfucker, this is so lame.
Now, more importantly...
More important than not at all?
She did interviews with some of the January 6th defendants. This was subsequently, obviously, after these guys were being called out, and she ingratiated herself with them, and she said, I want to record you, and some of them agreed to interviews. But one of these defendants said...
By the way, she didn't have their number beforehand? No? She didn't... Because I thought she was didn't she help coordinate it then? Isn't that what we're learning? Is that Alexandra Pelosi pulled off this whole thing just to cover for the attack that would happen later to her dad?
Listen, I don't mind being interviewed by you, but I'm also going to record what you say. Is that okay? And she said, sure, you can.
Which is what criminals do. Sure, go ahead. Now I have to warn you, I'm a vampire, and I won't show up on video. Yeah, you did. No, I don't. It's right here on my phone. I am a vampire.
Do that. And so the recording I'm now referring to is provided by a January 6th defendant.
Fabulous. Let's see.
Who recorded Pelosi. So Pelosi is on video, and
yeah, there, you got it. She's on video. Let's see.
Recording has been affirmed both by the person who took it and by this person's lawyer as authentic.
Okay.
And what you see in it is that Alexandra Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, is very clear that this was not an insurrection. This was...
Well, you don't have to tell me. Play the video. I'll judge for myself. I think we're all capable of doing that. Roll tape.
Not an attempt to overthrow the government. In fact, she herself not only ridicules that idea, but minimizes or basically goes, what these people are doing is nothing. It's no big deal. And all of this is from...
Well, yeah, I mean, you're paraphrasing and you're kind of, you're kind of characterizing what happened in the video, but I'd like to see it. I think we'd all like to see it, to see if what you're saying and what you're saying she's saying matches up. It's, just so roll the tape.
Nancy Pelosi's own daughter coming out of her own mouth. And
great. Yeah, let's hear it. Own daughter, own mouth, on video. It's probably just a shot of her mouth. Let's see it.
In her own voice.
All right, as opposed to that really funny voice she likes to go, oh, I don't believe it's a wax sound.
Now,
I love it when it's one of my favorite Alexandra Pelosi characters.
Now, the video itself is somewhat long, and I don't want to go through the entire transcript. I'm just going to read...
Transcript. You're going to read a transcript of a video.
Some of the lines, these are lines out of Alexandra Pelosi's mouth.
Oh, I see. You mean, in other words, out of context.
She's talking about the shaman guy.
Uh-huh. Who we all thought was an asshole.
And here's what she says. The shaman did nothing. What did the shaman do? He stood there. So, in other words, what kind of insurrectionist is just standing there, basically doing nothing, making no effort to take over the government?
He stood there in the actual place where the votes are counted, where holding the, I mean, he thought there were other people coming to make this happen. It didn't happen, and he ended up fucking off. All right. But I'm sure it seemed, well, I can't tell you. I mean, because we're not seeing video, we're seeing his reading of it.
Here's Nancy Pelosi continuing.
Yeah, was there anything in between? Any words in between that and this, or just, you know what? I feel like I'm right there. I feel like this, I might as well be watching Nancy Pelosi.
Are the Proud Boys white supremacists? She goes, I'm friends with Gavin McInnes, the founder of the Proud Boys. When someone talks about the Proud Boys, they say, well, white supremacists. She laughs as if, ha ha ha, what a ridiculous concept.
Was that her? That's a pretty good Alexandra Pelosi. Ha 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 ha. Does she do that? Did she learn how to laugh at swashbuckling school? Ha 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 ha. Did she slap her thigh? Ha 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 ha. Sling.
She then says to the January 6th defendant, you're
apropos of nothing, by the way. She jumps straight from Gavin McInnes is a friend of mine to
going to be able to laugh about this one day. And then she goes on to say, if there was an insurrection, you were supposed to have a plan. This was the sorriest insurrection in history. Honey, this
is what you say all the time. Whenever I take my penis, you go, this is the sorriest insufficient erection I've ever seen.
This is exactly what you say.
Yeah, you see my erection, you go, this is insufficient.
Well, if this was an insurrection, it's the most incompetently planned, poorly executed insurrection ever. And
yes, but that would still make it an attempted insurrection. And by the way, this has been my point the entire time. Thank God, and I think this is a good moment. Let's all take a moment to count our lucky stars, to thank our lucky stars. We'll count them later. We'll count sheep, and then we'll thank our lucky stars. We'll thank them that January 6th was attempted by the biggest bunch of assholes, losers, and incompetents ever to form an attempted coup of any country on the face of the earth. And it's hilarious, and it was doomed to fail because Trump is a moron.
Nancy Pelosi's daughter knows that, so she's laughing it off, meaning this is not...
She's also trying to get these people to open up in this interview. That's abundantly clear. Yeah, film me. Yeah, I'm not good. Okay, yeah, keep talking. What's she supposed to do? Slap him in the face? Tell me what you were doing there that day. Where's the other horn, asshole? Where is it? He doesn't really eat organic, does he? Like, he even says at the beginning, she's ingratiating herself with the people to try and get them to sit down because she wants them to speak freely.
Not a serious insurrection. People may...
Well, yeah. We didn't say it was a serious insurrection. I believe the crimes committed that day, especially the ones against police officers and the attempted ones against, members of Congress, with the building of the gallows and the carrying of weapons by multiple people, including guns, that was serious. The overall chance of it succeeding was next to nothing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it was not a serious insurrection in that regard.
Be saying this is 1776 all over again.
Yeah, we don't say that. Marge says that. Lauren Boebert said that. Marge says that every fucking day.
But they mean that metaphorically.
Really? Yeah. They weren't going to tell that to the guy in the tri-corner hat.
We're not taking any steps to blow up the Capitol, to sort of forcibly seize the Capitol with force of arms. None of that.
None of that? What the fuck are you talking about? Lots of that.
She continues to...
They were literally... People were yelling, kill him with his own gun about Officer Fanone. None of that.
Say, DC is a lot of people who work for the government. I don't think they're sympathetic. If you got it moved, I mean the trial, you totally get off. So here is Nancy Pelosi's daughter admitting that the DC juries are biased, that they are basically...
Or she recognizes she's talking to a bunch of egomaniacal rubes who will only speak freely if they think you're on the team. Now, I don't know why she would see a bunch of maggots and think that. It boggles the mind. But it's clear that's what she's trying to do.
The government operatives of one sort or the other.
Well, again, clear from his reading of the video we're not seeing because... What?
Because they all are, feeding off the government trough. You can't really get a fair trial in DC.
Oh, I see. No, I'm not 100% sure that's what she's talking about. But they don't feed off the government trough. It's a government town, motherfucker. That's what it's for. I gotta say, Washington, D.C. is the capital of our fucking country. It serves a purpose. There's a reason why all these bureaus and departments are there, because proximity helps. It would not make a lot of sense to spread your decision-making, especially in the case of an emergency, your decision-making centers across 4 fucking time zones. Just cuz.
And then she goes on to say, if after Democrats lose the House, they get rid of the committee, people may lose interest. No one's going to care when the Democrats are out of power. You take Biden out of office, then who cares? What she's saying is that this is all just a hoopla created by the Democrats because they have the power to do it. And that the moment they're out of power...
Yeah. We are big on hoopla. We're the captains of the hoopla squad.
The issue itself loses its significance. Why? Because it's a propaganda issue that is being exploited by the left while it can. But
what? Okay. You do admit that you did it, though, right? Like, I mean, at least talk about it as an unforced error on the part of maggots and Trump world. Are you completely incapable of at least looking at it in those terms? If anybody has taken the, and I don't, by the way, believe this, but if anybody's taken this and running with it, just to score political points, then you have to admit you gave them the ball. You fumbled it. You guys fucked up and handed them the ball that they are running into the end zone over and over and over again. And Debbie and Dinesh were active participants in ginning up this January 6th bullshit. A lot of these fuckers are in trouble because they bought this asshole's story.
It's a propaganda issue that bears very little resemblance, as she herself privately realizes, to the truth. There are two...
Also, I am disappointed in that clip. I'm not going to lie. I thought we were going to get some video and some reaction to the reaction video, but we had to take a Dinesh D'Souza's one-man show as Alexandra Pelosi. And I hope we get to see that video one day. It's no 2,000 Mules, but I think it'd be must-see TV. Hi, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Thanks for joining me. It's awesome.